Hey guys, welcome. Muskie Road Rules Podcast, episode number 217. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for telling a friend. And happy Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving week. And hope everybody's had a good season. I'm sure a lot of people are closing things up, whether it be the cabins or locking the boats up. There's still a few water out there that you can fish up north. But, hey, if you get a hankering to do some fishing, you ought to come down to Kentucky. Give it a try. This podcast is sponsored by Morehead Tourism right here in Morehead, Kentucky, Cave Run Lake. I was out fishing today and actually caught a muskie, so I was pretty proud of myself. The water temp right now is right around 49 to 51 degrees. A lot of fish seem to be moving around. Tony's not going to be on here with us tonight, mainly because it should be better. He's got a lot of people over at the Mountain Muskie Lodge this weekend for his Turkey Bowl, and just couldn't break away to talk to you fine folks. But make sure you go to moreheadtourism.com. Check it out. Cave Run Lake. All kinds of things to do down here, things to see. moreheadtourism.com. You're not going to regret it. You can also text us on our text line at 606-776-6570. Lungin Lures, makers of the 22 short, 22 long, 22 SS, and the new baits they've got for this year, the Alley Cat series of lures that they took over and are making those. They got the little LPs and the stray cats. Make sure you check those out, guys, at lunginlures.com. And shoot us a text. Let us know what you think at 606-776-6570. I'm your host, Gregg Thomas, joined tonight by the myth, the man, the legend, Jim Stella from the PMTT. And we've got Luke Ronnestrand on here tonight from up in northern Minnesota, central Minnesota, depends on where you live. And, guys, how we doing?
Doing good tonight.
Good deal.
Hey, for those water temps, is that average this time of year?
That, yeah, is probably right around average. I've seen it 5 degrees warmer, and I've seen it a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it might be a little bit warmer, especially with how warm November really was.
Well, we had a pretty cold spell when I came down. I came back last week. I brought the cold with me. I mean, we only had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The highs here were only like 38. So,
oh, wow.
It was really cold. I mean, this morning it was 21 degrees this morning. Which is pretty chilly for us.
Don't they shut the pools when it gets that cold by you?
They shut it down. They just start throwing. Everybody goes outside with Morton salt shakers and just starts throwing it all over the road. It's insane. The cafeteria is empty. It is a wild scene here. But no,
people raiding supermarket shelves because they're afraid they're going to be.
Supermarket shelves, pet stores looking for dogs to snuggle with. I mean, it gets wild down here when the temperature starts to drop. So, but it's pretty chilly. Luke, what's it like up in Minnesota right now? Last week it was starting to get pretty cold up there.
Yeah, it was still very cold this week. I think I don't know, when I looked at the truck. I think I looked at the truck like mid morning and it was like 25 degrees here. Yeah, everything's looking pretty icy. All the little ponds and lakes by my house here in Elk River they're all froze up. And I was just up at Vermilion yesterday picking up my 680, and it looked like winter up there. But you could have I think you could have broke ice out of Pearson's Lodge and gone out fishing in Head of Lakes. I mean, Head of Lakes was, I'd say, like 90% open.
Okay. Well, I mean, that actually surprised me. I thought it would. I thought it would actually have ice a lot sooner. I left last Wednesday, and in Detroit Lakes, and the lakes were still open. I thought there'd start being more ice than that, but it seems like our water temperatures. Once it gets down to like 36, 37, it seems to be. It's got to get cold really to freeze. And you need those calm nights and stuff for that to really drop down there. We hadn't had any super. We had a couple nights in single digits, but other than that, it wasn't ultra terrible. But I have a feeling it's getting to be that way. And right now, we've got a lot of When I left, the snow was starting to pile up a little bit. Was Vermilion pretty snow covered up there?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like winter. I bet we had 6 inches on the ground or so.
Yeah, that's what, when I left Detroit Lakes, that's about what they had on the ground. I'm sure they've lost a little bit, but it's starting to definitely do that. What about in Chicago, Jimmy? Anything happening there?
No, we did get cold. I mean, it's been so beautiful here. All of October was just, incredible. 2 weeks ago, it was 70 degrees.
Yeah.
And then, we got a cold spell last week. Finally put on pants for like 2 days, but I'm back in shorts again because we're up in the 40s and 50s.
Got to
Today
show
was
off
real
those
nice.
legs.
Sun was out, and yeah. There's a lot of the smaller stuff is starting to get skim ice in that, but I think this week will melt a lot of that stuff that came last week with the cold.
Yeah, well, I can get that, but down here, like I said, the temps drop. I think we're going to stabilize though, because it was today. I bet you it got up into the mid 50s today, and it's supposed to be the same tomorrow. Thanksgiving is supposed to be in the 60s, and we're not going to get the 10-day. Didn't have anything. Cooler than like 45, 46 degrees. So I think, for down here, if guys want to fish, it's going to be pretty good. I'm going for about another week and a half, and then I'm probably going to kind of retire it for the season. But it's it definitely is, it's starting to get a little late. The lake's coming down. We're down about close to 6 feet right now, which is where we should be for winter pool, so that's nice to see. But Luke, let's talk a little bit about Vermilion this year and what you were experiencing up there. How was the season up there this year?
I thought fishing was really good. We had really a really consistent bite the entire year. I would say it was like maybe a little bit colder start to the season, a colder spring, but I kind of like that myself. You get some of the fish still kind of hanging out in the shallows, kind of some post-spawn fish, and those fish are typically pretty aggressive, and they like topwaters, and you can get them on a little quicker moving bucktails and things like that. And we didn't get a lot of real hot weather. Sometimes those warmer starts to the season can be really good, but then you kind of get like a little bit of a lull after a while, kind of those the cliched dog days of summer. But this year it was just kind of a good steady, just a good steady temperature. It never got, or a good steady like weather patterns. It never got too hot, and fishing was really good. Just a good solid year. Just a lot of the typical patterns were really good, and I guess we never really saw like a crazy, like traditional casting bucktails and topwaters night bite, but during the summer months. But that was kind of about it. It was a pretty solid year, and then this fall was really good. We had a really good September, and then October was really good, and then November was good as well. What
did you find up there? Was there any hot color or hot lure for you this year that you thought was kind of producing a little bit better than anything else?
I would say just like went back to some of the more traditional rubber baits, like Muskie Innovations double dogs were good. We did well with live action lures, but from Muskie Innovations. But it was a lot of just the beavers, the frenzy bucktails, some Muskie Mayhem supermodels for bucktails were good. The topwater bite was good at times, and then we did well on like beavers and medusas, and just like honestly all of the classic Vermilion lures were really good. Things that you hear people using, and I would say like both ends of the lake fished really really well this year, the west end and the east end. I would say the only thing that I really didn't do a lot of this year was I didn't find myself doing a lot of trolling. I didn't do a lot of trolling in kind of in the end of June and first part of July. And then I never really got on a good late fall trolling bite either. It was all casting.
So you're talking there, about the double dog, which was something that, I know in certain areas guys really like it, but it's not a bait that you see in a lot of boats that guys are tossing. There's something that I see a lot. Talk a little bit about that. Why do you think the double dog works so well, or why do you think it's was a good bait for up there?
Well, it's just it falls a little bit slower than the traditional bulldogs, and it's sort of just kind of it doesn't have a real big walk to it, so it pops through the weeds really nice. And then because of those two tails, it just has a little bit bigger, just a little bit bigger presence in the water. And typically when I end up using those, the double dogs is in August and September when we get some color in our water. We get a little bit of an algae bloom on the west side, the middle and the west side of the lake, starting in mid-August, and then we have that through mid-October. And I just think that extra tail and that little bit bigger presence in the water just makes a big difference. And it does run shallower. And as we have really nice cabbage beds in the middle and the west side of the lake, but we also have a lot of coontail. And later in the season, that coontail becomes pretty important. And the double dogs just fish really nice. They run at a really nice depth to fish the coontail on Lake Vermilion.
Now,
that's kind of. I'm going to interrupt you, Greg.
Jesus, it's like being on here with Tony.
Kind of surprising though, but Tony never talks. We always think he's sleeping during these things.
He usually is.
But it's kind of surprising though that Luke said the trolling bite never really turned on this fall. Because I know, like Vermilion in November, I mean, I got a couple of friends who they only go up in November and specifically for trolling. That's like their big Vermilion trip is that November trolling trip.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, it could have been a me thing, just not giving it enough time. But
I've said that before in my life. It could have been a me thing.
Everything is a me thing with Greg.
Yes.
I mean, we just had a good, I definitely gave it some time, and I love, I love the trolling up there, but just the casting bite was, we were getting enough bites cast and it was hard to troll.
What? Yeah. Now you're talking your late fall stuff up there. Now I know you like swim baits and stuff. Were those still working for you?
Yeah, we threw a lot of the swimming dogs and the monster swimming dogs, and then the monster medusas, and then the 1.5 pound bulldogs were also very good.
Now, do those not sink as fast?
The bigger dogs. They probably. Oh man, it's so hard to say. They probably run a little bit shallower, but they have like a really nice walk to them. And then also what's really neat about those baits is if you throw them up shallow and just reel them, you can reel them straight, and they have a really nice, almost like swim to them. So you can throw them up, fish them pretty shallow, and straight retrieve them. And then once you get out to a little bit deeper, you hit that first jerk, first break, you can give it a pause and let it sink, and then just kind of start working it like a traditional bulldog. And then they also have a really nice like hop to them when you do an up rip by the boat. And
can I let somebody else throw it and then I reel it in?
Oh, it's not that bad.
I could see me doing that.
Yeah, says Luke. Ty and I joke about how he's got like baby Huey strength. He doesn't even realize his strength sometimes, man.
Exactly. I realize my strength. There is none.
They're not that much different than throwing like a
dead cat.
A monster medusa. Come on, Greg. We're musky fishermen.
Dead end. Luke, do you remember back years ago on Mille Lacs when you had that really big one snagged and we lost the net and I had to hand land it and you were getting very mad at me because I wasn't taking it seriously?
Yes, I remember that.
Luke gets very feisty sometimes.
Well, that was a very nice fish. So, and that, I do remember that fish did eat on an uprip, and it like barrel rolled, and that's how it got snagged.
I don't know about that. I seen you out there. You're like, oh, there's one, and you like let it sink, and you start. I heard you count in your head, 1,
Yeah.
2.
How did you lose the net?
Well, that's I don't know.
That's a good question.
That was a
funny thing about it. Didn't we catch a bunch of fish that day? Because that was with Brad and his brother, right?
Yeah, and well, somehow we got to the spot. You hooked the fish, and then we noticed there was no net in the boat. And so that was also before I was medicated, so I was a lot of fun to be around.
I remember right, we caught like 4 or 5 fish that day. It was a fun day.
Yeah, that was back when Mille Lacs had muskies in it. That was, yeah, but no, that still makes me giggle. Well, what, with Vermilion, have you noticed with, with a lot of the guys up there, I would assume, and I've just been hearing that a lot of guys are doing the sharpshooting up there. Have you noticed the fish relating to structure more, or no?
No, I would say they really like the way the fish have behaved the last couple of years really hasn't changed. Those fish haven't necessarily as far as their location haven't adapted to that new fishing pressure, but I think they've got a little bit trickier to catch, and that's definitely turned into almost a lot of the guys that are doing really, really well at night fishing.
Oh, really? That sounds great.
I bet you're right up your alley.
It is. I don't mind the night fishing of like an hour or two, but the whole, eating lunch at midnight, I don't know if I want to do that anymore.
Yeah, no, that's. I definitely dabbled like that with it, and I do find it enjoyable. I guess I still enjoy night fishing as long as it's not windy.
Yeah,
or as long as they don't pair you up with the guy that you got to take out who has 2 hearing aids, and at 9:00 every night wants to go to the casino, so now you can't even night fish while you're up on Vermilion.
That sounds like my kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
That does sound like my kind of guy. What, Luke, up there, was there any, period this year where you found like some kind of off the wall pattern, and that's something that hadn't been super successful for you? I know up on Lake of the Woods this summer, it definitely seemed like crankbaits were catching a lot of fish for guys, and I think it was because, one, we were flooded up there 4 feet, and having to like hit the rocks and stuff like that, and it was just it seemed more than more prevalent than in the past. What did you notice anything like that?
I would say so. Kind of instead of like a crazy like off the wall pattern, I would just say that like kind of just everything worked really well at some time or another. Like there wasn't any any family or type of lure that was dead. Like we caught fish on dive and rise jerkbaits, we caught fish on gliders this year, all types of rubber baits, all types of bucktails. And I would say, like back in the day up there, we used to throw, I mean, you remember how it was. A lot of times it was 2 topwaters and a bucktail, or else it was,
sure,
like 2 bucktails and a topwater, and that's what you threw. And then when things got tough, maybe somebody threw a bulldog out of the back of the boat or something like that. When things got
tough, you just said the lake was turning over, and you went from there.
Exactly.
No, when things got tough, Gregg is dry heaving out the back of the boat.
Again, might I add, pre-med.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Pre-med.
But I mean, I don't know. I guess it was just I'm trying to think. Like I caught a few muskies on tubes this year. I guess that's something that I personally don't throw a lot of. It's just I would say there's a wide variety of lures that got used every day, and every day the fish wanted something different. But then there was kind of just a lot of the same, where like when we were casting structure, just a black and nickel double 8 or double 10 was a great bait. So it's just.
Did you notice that like speed was a key, or did you not have to go super fast to get them? I mean, speed I think is relative because 20 years ago fast is nowhere near what fast is now.
Right. Oh man, I don't know. I would say like the dirty secret now is just like not reeling that fast. You know, it was
that would be a great secret for me.
Right.
Is there any secret of like it involves a bobber? That's that's a secret I would love.
I haven't got to fishing with minnows yet.
Oh, I could put a bucktail under a bobber. It wouldn't matter. I'd be happy with anything.
But no, that's like I kind of honestly like seeing I kind of like having my like the guy that's reeling into bucktails. I almost want to see him down a couple feet. I don't want to see him right under the surface.
Sure.
And kind of like with a lot of the baits, it's just like the fish kind of. It just seems like they don't like come up like super high in the water column and chase baits. It's like they chase baits and they have just they just have a knack of kind of staying out of sight until the last second.
That's how I like to fish my surface baits. Couple feet under the water. That's where I find them to be the best.
Yes.
So how was?
What now?
No wait. So going back in the day, like so how was your Lake of the Woods experience? I'm not gonna lie. I did find it. I did find your move this year a little shocking.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a lot tougher. It seemed like the high water.
Have you ever seen the movie The Shining, Luke?
It was no.
That's what I was predicting.
No,
it's going to happen on that island.
No, Jim. Actually, I have a pretty good announcement coming up here. Not tonight, but soon.
I already know what it is.
Well, then and Luke does too. So shut up. Yeah, no, it was fun. I mean, I was disappointed at the size of fish. Nothing really big. There was, and nothing really big that of people I even talked to in the area and stuff. And to be honest, there wasn't that much pressure up there. I mean, there was a few people complaining about pressure, but if they're complaining about pressure there, then good Lord.
Tell them to go to the northwest angle.
There was nobody there, and so I enjoyed it. I mean, it was fun. We caught some nice fish, but nothing real big, and but it was tougher. It was definitely tougher. I thought, blame it on the high water, blame it on whatever, but it was definitely tougher.
It was amazing. So I did spend my few days on Lake of the Woods early, and I mean, it was honestly like mind blowing seeing, like the bank where you're used to seeing the bank completely underwater.
Yeah. I mean, that was it. I mean, I'm used to it down here in the South. I mean, we deal with that every spring just about now. But yeah, up there it was weird. I mean, some of the stuff we were fishing, I was trying to explain it to some people, and a hump or something like that, and I guess it was an island in areas, and
it was almost like 10 years ago too when they had that real high water that came in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was up 4 feet or so, I guess, is the numbers that I was being told, and yeah, it was up all the way to I left in middle of September, and it was it had just come down. I mean, the lack of weeds is the thing that I wasn't too happy about. I mean, there wasn't many weeds at all where I was. If you found a weed bed the size of a dining room table, that was a big one. There, other than that, there was hardly any weeds at all. None of the bays. Sand was basically what I was fishing more than anything, and getting that was what I was moving most of the fish on, was sand there towards the end, and than rocks and points and stuff like that before. But it was tough. I thought it was tough, and it sounds like talking to other guys, they said it was tough too. But just my personal experience, it was kind of a tough bite this summer.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I really didn't hear a whole lot of really good stuff out of Lake of the Woods until like August.
Yeah, it was. It was always a tougher thing. So, but I mean, it is what it is. But I like it up there. It's better than living in Detroit. That's all I'm saying. It's better than living in Detroit. I was ready to not live in Detroit. So, yeah, it was one of those. But, well, Jim, we got you on tonight, and it's not for your angelic voice or smooth jazz sounds.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the PMTT stuff that's going to be happening this year, considering you are Mr. PMTT.
Yes. So this is actually our 25th anniversary year.
Wow.
So, yeah, 25 years doing this stuff. But, yep, we have our new schedule for 2013. And
2023. 2023.
Oh, did I say 2013? Yes, 2023. Sorry. Got a little messed up there. I was looking at the wrong thing here. But, yep, our first qualifier, as always. I think the only lake that we have been to for all 25 years of the PMTT. We will be starting the spring off with the Leaf Labs spring shootout down there on Cave Run.
Well,
that is going to be – what was that?
No, well, I was going to say, when is it?
That's where I was going next.
Thank you, God.
April 20 – I know, you just got to jump in there. April 29th and 30th.
Good.
So end of April is usually when we come down there. So 29th and 30th down there on Cave Run, hosted by Moorhead Tourism. They're great down there with us. And like I said, they're only one that have been with us all 25 years.
We're like a good rash. We just root in.
Yes, that's a great image to put out there.
You remember that time you come down and I had shingles and I thought I was dying?
Yes.
You had to diagnose me with shingles. That was fun.
Yes. Pre-medication again.
How old are you?
Oh, that's been years ago. I had shingles. You don't have to have shingles, Luke. Don't discriminate.
No, I got shingles in my like late 20s too, so you can get it.
Why did you have it?
I don't know, because I had chickenpox at one point in time, and then the chickenpox virus hides in your body, and it can come back as shingles. So that's why I had it.
Ew. Is it? I think it might have been. Is it from bathing?
I bathe, Greg.
How did you get it, Greg?
I'm
there's
not
no
from
telling.
Kentucky.
There's things you should do and things you shouldn't, apparently.
No. Shingles is from the chickenpox virus. You never get rid of chickenpox. It just hides in your system, and when you've had chickenpox, it can come back later on as shingles. Especially for older
that is your
people.
WebMD.
But it can come back at any time.
Oh my God!
Once you've had chickenpox, it can come back again, and when it does, it's shingles.
Well, let me tell you, the shingles I had sucked. I had them in my armpit, and for any of you out there that have ever had blisters in their armpit, it is no fun. I had to fish with a can of cold Coke underneath of my armpit and sleep with a frozen washcloth in my armpit. I never thought I'd say armpit this much in this podcast, but I enjoy it.
I don't put anything past what you say too much in our podcast. They have gone off the rails almost every podcast I've been on.
So Luke, have you had chickenpox?
I had it when I was really young.
Well, that's when I had. Everybody has it when they're young, unless they're weird.
Yes.
And then that means you're going to have shingles one of these days. So
No, it doesn't mean you're going to. It just means if the virus comes back, it comes back as shingles.
Just get you a bunch of talcum powder and just cover yourself.
You can get vaccines every year. They have the shingles shot too that you can get.
Did you get the shingle shot? You're getting old, Jim.
No, I don't really do any of that stuff. I only got it the one time, but you can get it a bunch of times. Now, can we continue on with our 25th anniversary?
Okay, and maybe some more shingles talk?
Yes. So, our second qualifier is going to be on the Madison Chain in Wisconsin.
Now that's
on June. Yeah,
that's the one that I was surprised about. Go ahead and tell them the date.
Yep, changing things up. 25th year, change things up. That's going to be June. That's early too. June 10th and 11th, because normally we're there. We're doing that second tournament, after Father's Day. This time we're doing it early. Figure 2 at the Madison Chain around that after Father's Day weekend is going to be real crowded. That's when a lot of your boaters are going to be out. So we thought that June 10th, 11th weekend would be a nice time to be there at the Madison Chain. And we're still working on the location and everything down there, Tournament Central. So we'll be announcing that shortly.
Let me ask you this, okay?
Yes.
With the Madison Chain, before we were not allowed to change lakes when we were there. You couldn't pull out and put in somewhere else. So could somebody go to, in this one, could you do, what's the lake with the zoo on it?
Yes, all the way down. We're talking about that right now. And I would say because of how we've been doing it these last few years, we probably would do it. The only problem is when you start having 3 separate takeoffs, trying to have 3 people be at takeoffs can be difficult. So we're talking about that one right now. Yeah, we're talking about that one right now. So we'll be announcing more of that stuff coming up. I don't want to say that that's a definite, but it is something that we have been discussing and we're looking favoritively at.
So that would be, so you're talking when Monona, Wabisa, Mud, and then you got Kiganza, and you've got Wingra.
Yes.
Oh my God, did you hear that? I got those all off the top of my head.
I'm not.
That's because I don't have a light.
That was pretty good.
It was.
But, we'll in the next month or so, we'll dial in on exactly what the lakes are going to be for that one.
Okay. Well, so now you're doing it earlier because of boat traffic, because I would assume the Madison Chain, could be like the beaches
centrally located right there. Yes. Yeah. It's like Minnetonka. It can get a ton of traffic on it. And not fishermen, just a ton of boat traffic.
Just driving around naked, just throwing things at people.
Yes. Like I said, off the rails.
Have you ever fished on the Madison Chain, Luke?
I have not.
It's actually not too bad. The last tournament we had there were big fish caught. There were several over 45 inches caught there.
Honestly, I never hear anybody say anything negative about the Madison Chain, just except for the boat traffic. That would be it.
The only thing they say negative about it is that fucking Jim Stella. That's all I've ever heard negative about.
How am I even associated with Madison Chain? I don't even live there.
I don't even live. Well, see, your name gets around.
You live close, kind of.
What?
Yes.
So no, that'll be neat. I've never fished it. Well, we fished it that one year in May that it was cold.
Yeah, when we were doing those May tournaments, yes.
And wasn't that in like the first weekend in May, like right in opener?
Yeah, it was early.
I mean, it was cold.
Right after opening weekend.
Yeah, It was super cold there, and
that's one of the reasons that we gave up those May tournaments, because there weren't really a lot of places you could go to in May, and do anything real good,
Yeah, I get it. I mean, Oh, no, that'll be interesting. So, no Eagle River 3 Lakes for the second tournament. We're going to be we're going to be
changing it up for the 25th year.
Oh my God, 25th! It's your silver anniversary, or at least what they talk about on TV shows.
It'll match my hair now.
So is that going to be your championship, Stella?
No, that's the second tournament. That's June.
No, the Eagle River chain. Are you guys going to do your championship up there?
You're jumping ahead of me.
Don't.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Luke,
we're only on the second.
He's holding a ruler and he's going to slap something with it.
Now, the third qualifier, which is the Muskie Hunter Late Summer Showdown.
I'm big on late summers and showdowns. Both.
And that is to be determined. We have the lake.
That's my life.
We're working. Yeah.
That's my mantra.
We're probably going to be able to announce the lake at the end of this month. We just got to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, make sure everything is good to go. But that is going to be like right around that third week in August. So like August 18th, 19th, or 20th, depending on how it all plays out. Again, we should have that exact down at the end of the month, where it's going to be and the exact dates. But because I'm saying the 18th, 19th, or 20th, you can get an idea of the state that we're looking at.
The state?
With it.
What does the state rhyme with?
Gregg Thomas.
That's a horrible state. I wouldn't
Yes.
I wouldn't go there.
Yes.
So, well, that's cool. So it's going to be, we're doing August.
So
what was the dates again?
Yep. 18th, 19th, or 20th. So that weekend right there.
18th, 19th, or 20th. All right. So you're throwing a third day in there. So.
No, not a third day. It's either going to be a Friday, Saturday, or a Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, okay. So
tournament.
Is that a tea? I'm trying to read the tea leaves here, and
yes. Well, that's a big tea leaf right there.
I know that's a big tea. That's Earl Grey.
Yes. But we should have this the end of the month. Everything should be all done and good, and we can announce what it is and the exact dates. Mm-hmm. And then that brings us to the championship, the Recon Boats Invitational World Championship. And if we go back 25 years, the very first PMTT tournament ever was held on.
I was fishing on the Chippewa flowage.
That's right. So we said, you know what? 25th year. It began on the Chippewa flowage. Why not end our 25th
Why not kill it
on the Chippewa flowage?
Well,
yes. So Lake Chippewa flowage, that is going to be September 22nd, 23rd, 24th. That is going to be hosted by the Lake Chippewa Flowage Resort Association. And then we're going to be headquartered at Treeland Resorts there. So they are great people up there.
And they will
we've
throw
been there
you
a bunch of times.
They will throw you out of their bar. I found that out.
They will throw you out of their bar and then make me walk you back to your cabin.
It's never good.
How long,
because you've had too many old fashions.
How long ago did that happen?
3.
Yeah, that's very recent.
3 years ago.
And that was
Most
just a few
people
years ago.
Most people
Lori
of my
probably
age,
won't let you back into the bar now.
Most people of my age should not be thrown out of bars.
Have you been thrown out of more bars, like between the ages of 30 and 40, or between 20 and 30?
He's been thrown out of more bars now that he's been medicated than before he was medicated.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
I know.
Well, before I was too weird and I wouldn't even go in them.
That is true.
I mean, so
Mr. Antisocial before.
And now I'm just a social butterfly. I'm out there writing on trees, carving. Billy Bub loves Charlene. I got all kinds of stuff.
Stella.
Yeah. Yes.
Can I ask a controversial question about rules?
Go for it.
Are you guys going to allow live scope this year?
So that was something that we had said that we would look at, throughout. We weren't going to do a permanent ban on it, but we have also decided for 2023, we are, starting off, we are staying with our current decision and we are not allowing the live scan.
Okay.
Well, look at you putting your foot down.
And again, it's something that we're going to visit. We're going to revisit it, all the time. But for right now, it is what the overwhelmingly vast majority of our anglers want. They do not want it used.
Wah.
And it is it's their tournament, So you can say what you want, but it is their tournament.
No, I had to ask.
Oh, I was going to ask. Don't worry, Luke.
Do you have views on the live scope?
Who?
I have a very neutral stance on it. I own a whole bunch of Garmin LiveScope and Panoptix transducers, and I do enjoy fishing with it. And I enjoy having it as like a third option. I kind of look at it as you have casting, trolling, and and sharpshooting, I guess if you want to call it that. But I guess I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll just be I can understand why. I mean, I guess I can understand why you would not. Why you could. Why you could ban it and why you're banning it. But then I would also I'd also be fine if you allowed it. I would say I'm completely neutral on it. I'm not a live scope, not a live scope hater.
Yeah, I'm not a hater of it either. And then the people that have used it and been successful with it, they are good fishermen. You got to be a good fisherman to be able to use electronics and everything. The main thing with it with us was just the overwhelming majority of our anglers did not want it. And, and if you're a tournament for the anglers and, when you're looking at, a huge portion of your field that does not want this, you got to listen to your anglers. And that's what we did with it.
Business decision, right?
Yeah. Can't have a PMTT if you don't have fishermen. So,
oh God!
And now, another big announcement for our 25th anniversary year.
Oh, this is exciting!
What better to go with our 25th anniversary than $25,000 first place payout?
Oh.
Yeah, so, and not only first place, we have upped all the payouts. Yes.
Nice. Have you upped the entry fee?
It went up $100, and 100% of that went to the payouts.
Okay.
So all of that went into the payouts, and I will also say it's been 17 years since we've upped the entry fee. So... it's got a time there too. But that was one of the things that we got feedback from a lot of our anglers is not only, more for first place, but more for all of the places.
I agree with that.
They'd like, so now first place is 25,000, second place is 7,000, third place is 5,000, all the way down to $1,700 for 10th place. So.
Nice.
10th place, you're getting to right about where you could cover Gregg's bar tab for the week.
Yeah,
bar
pretty
tab.
close. Well, if he gets thrown out early, then yes.
Oh, and sometimes I start early, and so I leave early.
Well, you know what they say, if you're going to drink all day, you got to start early.
Exactly. I just claim that I've been roofied, and that's it most of the time.
You're the only one I know who roofies himself.
I was going to say, me just roofing myself, just sitting there having a conversation with me, and it's very exciting.
Why don't they call them floors? Why do they call them roofies?
Should call them flories. Oh no, that's exciting. We got it's going to be kind of a whole new deal this year. More money, different lakes. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. That sounds good. I like that and everything. When can people start signing up for the new trail?
Since we were doing the podcast today, I spent all day at the cigar lounge on my laptop, and everything is up and open right now.
Oh my God.
So you can go online and sign up right now.
Oh my God, Jim Stella, you're a worker bee.
I know.
You are.
Imagine what I could do if I was paid, too.
Oh, my God. People say, Jim Stella, that man is lazy. I go, no.
Yes.
That man is motivated.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think. Well, that's going to be...
Have you ever wondered why we're friends with Gregg?
I wonder it every single day.
I make you feel good about yourself and your life choices.
For me, it's the stories. I have so many Gregg Thomas stories. I could tell them for years and years and years. And it's funny because when I'm with people that I've never met before and I tell them Gregg Thomas stories, they don't believe them. And then I have to try to get them on the phone to confirm it.
Oh, they should, because there are stories. I'm looking right now at boxes and boxes of new Muskie Hunter clothing that we have got to get online tonight. So there is
no bonfires,
no bonfire, no medicated. Yes. It's better living through chemistry. That's what I say.
Stella, there was nothing better than back in the day when I was in on the Muskie Buster thing. When you would go and you would give Gregg a bunch of new T-shirts and a bunch of new hoodies and a bunch of new lures, he'd walk by a fire pit and see it in the fire.
Yeah.
There's just never a better feeling than that.
Yeah.
I make people feel good about themselves.
How many tournaments has he placed in and won with the PMTT? And ask him how many trophies and plaques he has.
There's no need to do that.
Yeah.
There's no need for that.
Isn't there one cornfield up by Tona that's got probably like 3 trophies in it?
They like to grow there.
Yes.
I was trying to save
remember
you and Tim money, and so you could grow trophies instead of buying them.
I remember getting in the truck with him. I think this was his old Dodge diesel with the stick shift, and all the lining up on the top and everything is like falling all over your heads, and it's ripped, and his dashboard is destroyed. And he said, "Yeah, I didn't catch a fish yesterday, so he had a bad day yesterday and destroyed the whole inside of his truck."
This is all true, by the way. And medicated, better living through chemistry. That's all I'm saying. Oh my God. So, well, hey, before we get off here, I need to do another ad, and mainly, Luke, you mentioned Muskie's innovations a lot. You throw a lot of Muskie innovations bait, don't you?
Yep.
Talk about the new giant swimming dog. We had Kurt on here a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about it. It was good up in Canada. Talk about the thing. I mean, it's a huge bait, big bait. How did you fish it? What's your favorite technique for it?
I like to just throw it out there and then just kind of reel it in for like the first, say, quarter of the retrieve. And then I'll start giving it some pulls and some pauses. But probably one of the coolest things about that bait is that it is kind of like a big lumbering swim bait. But once you pause it, and it kind of takes a little bit longer to go nose down. But once that thing starts to swim down, it gets a really nice swim to it as it falls, and it actually will accelerate kind of quick. So you can kind of get that thing down and fish it in that, if you're patient, down in that 10 to 15 foot range. And it fishes kind of really nice and slow, and it's got a big wide wobble and a good tail kick, and it gets them. It's just something different and just has a totally different presence in the water and a big flash, and it catches them.
Cool. That bait, again, guys, made by Muskie Innovations. Check them out at muskieinnovations.com. Luke mentioned a lot of baits, the 1.5 Bulldog. They've got the jig, big old monster swim baits, plus the regular sizes, all the regular sizes, and the Double Dog. Make sure you check them out at muskieinnovations.com. Luke, you done for the year? Are you going to go out fishing again?
Oh, man, I would say there's probably a very small chance that I get out fishing anymore. I was done up at Vermilion last Monday and kind of made my way home. And once there's no work on the schedule, Kelsey kind of puts I kind of have to start following some rules and get back to being a normal human being. Cracks the whip, and, taking the kids to school and picking them up, and so I'd like to maybe try and get out somewhere, next week or whatever. Yeah, we ended on a pretty good streak up there, and then the last day we were out, we got a nice fish, and of course I can't end it like that. I got to go out and spend a bunch of money on gas, drive 10 hours away to get something, not catch anything. So
yeah, I know his text earlier today brought a tear to my eye when he wanted to start earlier on the podcast, and he's got responsibilities. He's got to drop off the kids. And I'm like, our boy is all grown up now. I can remember when we had to sneak him into back doors at bars because he wasn't even 21 yet.
Those were some good days. I'll still never forget. I think the first show that I ever worked with Muskie Buster, Kelsey and I were we weren't even 21. We were 20 years old. And it was, I think we ordered some pizza. We were drinking in our room or something, and we ordered some pizza. And we went down at midnight or 1 o'clock to the lobby to get our pizza. And there was Gregg Thomas, walking around with his face painted.
Oh, like an Indian boy. Nancy Eldrup painted his face.
This is all.
Yeah, he's a little lost Indian boy.
This is all completely true.
And he had no idea that this had happened. And he walked up to the receptionist, and she literally screamed. And he was like, "What?
Why are you yelling at me, lady?"
She's like, "Go find a mirror right now."
Or just go away. I think that was pretty much her. I don't get paid. I don't get paid enough for this.
I remember another show where Luke took an entire cot over his head with another person on it out through the door going to the pool.
I think I wanted to throw that person in the pool.
Yes. I remember that one.
If I'm remembering right, the person inside the cot was Ty Sennett.
Actually, no. It was the other half of Ty at that time.
Yes.
So I wanted to throw her in the pool.
Yes.
Well, that happens.
Yeah.
Yes. But
good times.
Yeah. Well, yes. Jim, thanks for your PMTT update. You are an ace reporter.
Yes.
As always. Luke?
It's what I live for.
Luke, buddy, tell Kelsey and everybody I said hey, and have a good Thanksgiving.
Tell Kelsey I said hi, and I miss candy.
I'll do that. You guys do the same. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, and Stella, you tell the family I said hello and happy Thanksgiving, and we're going to shut her down, but one last time, Lungin Lures text line, make sure you shoot us a text at 606-776-6570. We'd love to hear from you. And tell Tony what a moron he is for not being on here tonight. That would be that would bring a smile to my face. So
yeah, Mr. Radio Face.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.